Alright, and here I am just flashing another ECU. That is a OEM reflash. Whoa. That needs to be cleaned. So OEM reflash on this one to 08 has a, so this one has a high idle problem, so I'm just reflashing it with the proper factory calibration on this one. So this ECU has no tune, and that's it for this one. Alright, and I just turned Nats off on this car. I guess the owner, I think somebody hit him on his other G35 and it was totaled. So he came here so we could swap the motor out. So I think he just bought a shell. But that's it on this one. They transferred the motor and the ECU, turned off Nats, and then now he could just take it home. What's up guys, I have a 2014 Q50. I had tuned this car already a while ago, and I think he got a check engine light or something for his car. No, I'm sorry, I think he said it was overheating, so I think it was just a thermostat, and he took it somewhere else to another shop to get it fixed, and I guess they messed up somewhere, and when he picked up the car from getting fixed at this other place, it threw a check engine light, and I think the motor blew. So he got another motor, and you know, since every motor is different, he asked me if it needs a retune, which the possibility is yes. I mean, it could not, it could, just very minor touches. We don't know until we actually check into it and do some pulls. So right now there's a car on the dyno, so in the meantime, since this is going to be done quicker, I'm just doing this car right now on the street real quick just to do a pull to see how it's doing. So in this exact scenario, so I've had them before where it's like minor touches, like I said, or I have to do a lot of changes. In this case, it's somewhere in the middle, so it's not mine. I was hoping it was minor changes so it'd be easier for me, but yeah, I'm looking at the log right now, and it's just it's a pretty decent difference between the motors. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that for him, and then I'll tell him the car's done, because he's not here. He dropped it off in the morning, so that works out. And that's gonna be it for this one. What's up guys, I have this 08 G37 coupe, so it's a 5-speed auto 3.7. it is currently, turn this off, tuned by somebody else out of state. I think they flew in to tune it. I'm not too sure, or they did it over email. I think they flew in on a dyno day. The owner messaged me concerned about his tune, that it didn't produce the numbers he wanted on this other dyno with the other tuner. You know, so of course the first thing I tell them, so I don't know if it was the first thing I told them, but I do tell you, you know, every dyno reads different. So even though like that's not my problem, I didn't tune it, you know, you should go tell your tuner why it didn't produce those numbers, have them explain it to you. But I told him, well, you know, every dyno reads different, and it's possible that's what it's supposed to produce. And then he told me who tuned it and where it was at, and I told him, oh, okay, like it should have produced way more. I think it was short about 30 or 40 wheel horsepower on what they produce. So then, you know, at that point, there's a lot of factors. You can't not just automatically blame the tuner. Even though this tuner doesn't like me, you know, I still explain it correctly. And if I didn't explain it to him this way in the DM, well, I'm explaining it now to everyone. It could also be the motor. Maybe the motor's not good, but this other tuner should explain the possibilities of why the number was like that. But I guess he didn't. So anyways, he's here to get a retune by me because of the concerns, and we cannot compare the tunes at least yet, because he's changing parts on it. So we cannot do a exact before and after, so it's not fair to the other tuner. Obviously the parts are changing, so it's only the intakes are changing. He's going 3-inch intakes, and he had these small intakes over here. I don't know what they are. So of course, again, there's going to be no accurate comparison on the numbers. So I just put a tune. I just made a startup file. It idles good, and the number he gave me, to be honest, I have not gone back into the DM to see what number he told me. But again, this is a VHR, so 3.7. It's a 5-speed. I believe on the other dyno with the mods he has or had, it should put around 315 to 330, something around there, you know, that range. But I think he told me to put down like 254 or 274, I'm not sure. So, you know, that's way off. So I'm not sure the exact conversation they had. I could only go off of what the owner's telling me through the messages. And so with the mods he has now, which is the UPT 3-inch intakes, test pipes, and he has, I believe, the stock Y pipe and the stock muffler. Here, if the motor is good, it should put roughly, you know, there's no exact number, so let's just say roughly 280 to around, let's just say 300. Just a pretty big range right there. So if it puts around 280 to 300, then we know that the motor is at least average to good. So then at that point we can say, okay, it was the tune. So something happened with the other person's tune. Now if it puts down over here like 220, 230, 240, 250, something like that after the tune, then yes, something is wrong with the motor, and it had nothing to do with the other tune. So that's what we're gonna find out right now. I mean, it doesn't sound, there's different ways to see if the motor is good or not, but just idling, it seems like it might be fine, but obviously that's not 100% accurate way to find out the motor is good. You have to run a few tests, yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start tuning this. All right, so really good. It's at 285 right now, and I have some work to do. 239 torque. The first pull was 243. I let off because I had to do major changes. So I think so far the motor is good. From what he told me, it's already making more. Now we know with the intake change, but it's making more, and our dyno reads lower than most other people's. So at this point, it actually is making more, regardless that he upgraded the intakes. And I have a lot of work to do anyways, and I still let off a little early. Alright, we are at 287 wheel horsepower now. Alright guys, final number is 292 wheel horsepower, 241 wheel torque. So on our dyno, that reads lower than the other tuner's dyno that they rent. It made more, so I guess, I don't know, we could assume it's a tune. But he did get intakes, but again, it's making what it should actually on this dyno. So yeah, I mean, that's good. The motor's good. I don't really see any issues. It does have 148,000 miles, and everything just seems fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell him the final numbers, and then he can go on a test drive. Pretty sure he's gonna be very, very happy. Should be a very big difference in power. What's up guys, I got this 2020 GTR track edition. There you go. This guy bought it like this, and he basically doesn't know what it has, just whatever he could find. So I'm gonna try and give him as much information as I can about the car, from what I can see from the outside physically, and from the tune. The only thing he was able to find out is it supposedly has bigger turbos, and the injectors, upgraded intercooler, and the shop is someone who specializes in GTRs and Evils, and I believe they're not here in SoCal, they're somewhere else. Alright, so 672 wheel horsepower, 598 torque. It's doing about 17 pounds of boost. I had to let off because the top end is running pretty bad, to be honest. Everything else seems alright, like under that, but around 6,000 is when it doesn't run good at all. And this is on E60 right now, according to the ethanol sensor. Assuming they calibrated correctly, which they probably did. It seems like this is all they specialize in all day long, GTRs and Evils. So I mean, seems to idle pretty good. Well, so for the mods this car has, the idle on these cars, because of the computer, that's actually about right. It could be like this on these cars. So to you guys, maybe the idle's a little high, but that's kind of how it would be on these cars with all the aftermarket parts. So the motor, I'm assuming, yes, I will agree with what he said. It does have bigger turbos, and I don't think they're just stock ported ones. These are definitely like another brand, for it to be making that power on that boost at only E60. It does have a bigger intercooler. Alright guys, so 2020 GTR, I already started tuning it. I already put my file in there, and right now it's on 91, and on 91 it made 540 wheel horsepower on 17 pounds of boost. I'm not sure if I mentioned in the previous clip, but this owner, the owner of the car, doesn't really want the car pushed. He wants to enjoy it. I think I did mention that because he bought it modified and he can't really drive it. One of the things I think I did not mention is that he says when he gets on the throttle and it kind of like, it's sluggish, and when he lets off and tries to get back on it, it takes a while to build boost. Other than like the pull I did with the other tuner's tune on there, where it did make the power, but I'm not sure, maybe the drivability or something, I don't know. But I feel like they actually probably do a great job, not just a good job, but a great job. This other shop that focuses on GTRs and Evos. So I'm not sure why it's running like that, but here we are. Tuned it. I don't have any issues on 91. It could be maybe the owner took something, the previous owner took something off of the car that belonged there with the tune from the other tuner. So now maybe it ran funny. You know, it's a possibility, because I went through their stuff and I could tell that like I said, that they look like they definitely know what they're doing over there. But I had no problems, so I'm not gonna push it on 91. On this one, I feel like if I were to push it, it might make 580 on 91 on our dyno, 580 wheel, maybe even 600 with the turbos that this one has. So now I already put some E85 in there, and it's only about E62 right now, So we're gonna see how that does on E62. And then after that, I'll let you guys know how much I think it would make on a full E85. Alright guys, so I just finished the tune. We're able to put a little bit more 85 in there, so it got up to E70, and it made, on E70 it made 680 wheel horsepower at about 17.5 psi. So it seems like if we were to keep it at 17.5 psi, and once it reaches the full E85, which would be the next time he puts at least about 6 to 7 gallons of E85, without me touching anything on the tune, it should already go on its own to about, on our dyno, 700, maybe 705 wheel horsepower. And that is with the way I tuned it, which is what the owner asked for, which is not pushing it, not pushing the motor. And it actually seems like this one can take more. So I feel like as it sits now on E70 at 17.5 pounds of boost, if I were to push it, let me see, so it made 680, I feel like it would hit 700 on E70 pushing it. If we were to do about, let's just say 22 pounds pushing it on the tune, we might hit about around 750, 760 wheel horsepower on this one.